Down in Patagonia, which is southern Argentina, the church has been there, I think, strongly influenced for about 30 years. I mean, before then, missionary work was focused in Buenos Aires and Bahia Blanca and up north in the more developed parts of the country. And so it's really only been there for 30 years, but it's been really strong. And as soon as the missionaries got there, it started to boom a lot. And it's kind of in a mode where it's kind of stabilized. Like the work goes forward and it's doing really well. It's not as like new, I guess, as it was 30 years ago. But so the church got there 30 years ago. There are probably 8 stakes in the mission. Like, it's a pretty big mission. We had lots of zones. And there's lots of units, about 4 or 5 branches and even wards in some of them. And so you have, in Neuquén, it's in the valley. And that's where like Centenario and Neuquén and all those places. And you served in Roca, you said. And those are, you know, like arid and like, and then if you go up into the mountains, because it's also part of the Andes, you have Bariloche and San Martín de los Andes and El Bolsón. And those are more touristy towns up in the mountains where you get snow and it gets really cold. But as far as the church goes, the members are very strong. Those who are truly converted, they know that it's true. And it like empowers them. Because you see some churches, and most of the churches down there, because there's lots, you have lots of evangelical churches, and there's not too many Baptist churches, but there's Jehovah's Witnesses and lots of stuff down there. And it's kind of wishy-washy, like people with their faith, they kind of fluctuate. But when people really understand the restored gospel, then they stay, and it's awesome. So I served in Centenario. I was there for a couple transfers. Then I went to Gran Neuquén, which was in the capital city of Neuquén in the west side. And then I went to El Bolsón up in the mountains, which is like a little touristy hippie town up in the mountains. And after that, I went back to Neuquén in an area called Villa Saferino, which was next to Centro or downtown. And I finished up, something happened to an elder down in Junín de los Andes, and I got emergency transferred down there, and I finished my mission in Junín, which is another touristy small town down there. I think for me the biggest thing that was, well, the hardest thing to help investigators do is get to church. I think in Argentina they have this thing called the siesta, and you know about that, but they sleep in the middle of the day and then they go to bed really late. And so getting up earlier in the morning, like 9-ish, is pretty hard for them. And you just have to put a big emphasis on how important it is to go understand the importance of the sacrament and see what the teachings of Sunday school are like, so people can understand a little bit more, one about the culture, but two about how much the church can help them. And most people, I think, don't, well, not, I wouldn't say most, lots of people don't make the effort to understand that. And it's kind of sad as a missionary to see that, because you really know when you're at church taking the sacrament, doing everything, how big of a blessing it can be for anyone. But there's such a huge difference between the people that go to church and the people that kind of go every other week or don't go a whole lot. And so I think for me, that was one of the biggest things, was putting a big emphasis on going to church and just helping other people understand that you can receive revelation. And that's one of the things you learn as a new missionary too, is people can receive revelation going to church, but that's a big thing down there as well, is helping them understand the benefit. One of the things I heard a lot was actually that we were spies for the government to go like steal their water, which was weird. Another thing was that we just wanted to baptize people. And that was a misconception that I felt was kind of, incorrect, obviously. And I would put a lot of effort into trying to combat that perception. And so we wanted people to understand that baptism was important. But in order for that to understand, they have to understand the message of the restoration first. And so you can kind of give like a quick lesson of the restoration, even on the street. People will have that question a lot. But it's just comes down to being able to help people understand the gospel and understand that it'll make them happy too. So I think that the more you listen to them and understand where they're coming from, especially when they present doubts to you, then you'll better be able to kind of direct the correct answer at them that's going to help them understand really where we're coming from and sharing the message. And that makes them excited. I mean, I talk to most people, and on the street, not too many people weren't willing, at least, to listen. And that was something that I was kind of worried about going down there, but just talking to people on the street, it was exciting to see, oh, I love God. I want to hear your message. Like, I have my church, but I'm willing to listen. I mean, they do have faith in that respect, and so you kind of have to overcome some of the ideas that people have, and sometimes other people will spread ideas, but it's not that hard to, when you hear like a blatant lie, just be like, no, and just tell them the truth. We don't have anything to hide.
Yeah.